In the small town of Eldridge Hollow, shadows clung to the corners of every street as the sun dipped below the horizon, leaving behind an indigo sky dotted with twinkling stars. It was a place steeped in folklore, where whispers of the supernatural echoed through the cobblestone alleys and echoed off the weathered wooden doors of quaint homes. Among its residents was a mysterious black cat named Midnight. Known for his uncanny ability to appear at the most unexpected moments, his glossy fur glistening under the moonlight. As the clock struck midnight one fateful evening, a chill swept through the town, sending shivers down the spines of its inhabitants. They were all too familiar with the legend of the werewolves that prowled the surrounding woods. Every full moon, a series of brutal attacks had left them gripped with fear, their nights haunted by howls that seemed to come from the depths of hell itself. Midnight, with his piercing green eyes and stealthy demeanor, had become an enigmatic figure, one that was both revered and feared. It began on a night thick with fog when several residents noticed Midnight scratching at the dirt outside their homes. The feline's movements were deliberate, his paws creating intricate patterns that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Initially, the townsfolk thought little of it, dismissing the odd behavior as just another eccentricity of the town's feline fixture. However, as days turned into nights, they began to take notice. Midnight scratched out the same eerie symbols, each night adding to a growing collection that seemed to form a cryptic message. Curiosity piqued. A group of brave townsfolk decided to decipher the markings. They gathered at the old community center, lit by flickering candles, each member armed with notepads and the courage only desperation could conjure. The first symbols appeared to be warning signs, sharp lines, spirals, and angular shapes that suggested danger was imminent. But there was more to it. They soon discovered directional cues woven into the drawings, pointing towards a place deep in the woods, rumored to be a hidden sanctuary. "Look here," whispered Sarah, a local schoolteacher who had always had a fascination with puzzles. "This symbol looks like it's pointing northwest, toward the old mill ruins. I've heard stories of a place there, a sanctuary where one could find safety during a werewolf attack." As they studied the symbols further, it became evident that the messages were not just warnings, but also guidance to safety. Each night, Midnight continued his work, scratching more symbols into the earth, urging the residents to take action. A palpable sense of urgency filled the air, and soon, the townsfolk banded together, preparing for the full moon, which was only days away. The night of the full moon arrived, and Eldridge Hollow was eerily quiet. Fear hung thick in the air as families huddled together, peering through curtains, waiting for the worst. Yet, emboldened by Midnight's cryptic messages, a group of villagers ventured into the woods, following the path illuminated by the cat's strange symbols. As they trekked deeper into the forest, a haunting howl echoed through the trees, chilling them to the bone. The sounds of snapping twigs and rustling leaves surrounded them, each step weighted with dread. But Midnight, who had joined their journey, walked confidently ahead, leading the way as if he were their guardian. They reached the ruins of the old mill, its decrepit structure looming against the night sky. In the center of the ruins lay a hidden underground entrance, overgrown with vines and cloaked in shadows. Midnight paused, looking back at the villagers with an intensity that both inspired courage and struck fear. As they descended into the dark, the atmosphere shifted, and they could feel a change in the air, a pulse of ancient energy. The underground sanctuary was a vast chamber, lit by flickering torches and adorned with symbols that mirrored those Midnight had scratched into the dirt. The villagers realized they had stumbled upon a gathering place for those who had faced the curse of the werewolf refugees from the horrors above ground. A soft murmur filled the air as they were greeted by a group of weary souls, each one marked by the scars of survival. "What is this place?" gasped Thomas, a burly farmer who had lost his brother to a werewolf attack years prior. "It's a sanctuary," one of the villagers explained, his voice gravelly with age. "We've created this refuge for those who seek safety from the curse of the wolf. Midnight has guided you here for a reason. He is our protector." The townsfolk exchanged bewildered glances, a mix of awe and suspicion. How could a mere cat hold such power? Just then, Midnight leapt onto a nearby stone, his posture regal, as if he were a king addressing his subjects. "He is no ordinary cat," the elder continued. Midnight was once a man cursed by the moon. He roams these woods to guide lost souls to safety, but he cannot escape the darkness within himself. Gasps erupted among the villagers, and their fear morphed into confusion. A cat that was once human? The legend of the werewolves grew ever more complicated, weaving a tale of despair and hope. On nights like these, he is drawn to the power of the full moon, the elder explained. While he protects, he also seeks redemption. He can lead you to safety, but you must decide whether to embrace or flee from your own darkness. The revelation sent shockwaves through the group. The reality of their situation weighed heavily upon them. Their fears were no longer just about the werewolves lurking in the woods, but also about the fate of Midnight, their feline savior. As they gathered to discuss their options, Midnight watched, his emerald eyes filled with an unfathomable depth, a mix of longing and regret. "Why are you doing this?" Sarah finally asked, breaking the silence. "Why lead us to this place?" Midnight, in a moment that seemed almost magical, transformed before their eyes. The feline form shimmered, blurring the lines of reality, revealing a tall man with the same striking green eyes. The villagers gasped, backing away in shock. "I was once like you, filled with fear and anger," he confessed, his voice resonating with both sorrow and strength. "But I learned that darkness is not just something to fight, it is something to understand. I scratched those symbols to warn you, to help you face your fears and find the strength within yourselves." As he spoke, the chamber flickered with shadows and light, the villagers feeling the weight of his words sink in. The decision lay before them. They could either cower in fear or embrace the truth of their own darkness, confronting the werewolves that haunted their town with newfound resolve. In the following moments, a pact was formed. The townsfolk pledged to confront their fears together, guided by Midnight. They would face the werewolves not with weapons of anger, but with the strength of community and understanding. With a shared purpose, they ascended from the sanctuary, emerging into the moonlit woods, their hearts alight with determination. Midnight led the way, his presence a beacon of hope as they prepared to confront the horror that had plagued their town for far too long. In that moment, they realized that while darkness was inevitable, so too was the power of unity and understanding. And as the howls of the werewolves echoed through the trees, they stood tall, ready to reclaim their night, guided by the mysterious black cat, who was no longer just a creature of folklore, but a symbol of hope in the face of fear.